Jayantji, without further ado, let me just start with my very first question, which is to do with your book. Recently a lot has been said of the need to decolonize our minds, of these ideas and tropes that have been pushed into our psyche thanks to years of colonial rule. And one of the unshakable notions that generations of Indians have imbibed without question is the superiority of the Western mind, and the idea that science and rationality are somehow the products of European Enlightenment. Now, you've written a book on this, so could you help clear some of the misconceptions that are associated with this trope? What is the truth behind European Enlightenment?
Okay, this you did say to me that you were going to ask me tough questions, and this is a fairly complex question, Pujitaji. So let me try to address it by untangling myself out of this question and see what comes out of it. Okay, so I heard rationality and science, right? So I want to first speak about that before talking about European Enlightenment itself. In our conversation, I'm sure it will keep coming back up. Okay, so if you look at rationality, what is rationality? Right? And what does it mean to be human? So humans have this ability to observe phenomena, right? And by observing phenomena, we develop patterns. Right? Our sense functions observe phenomena. Our buddhi, right? Just look at it. Between our karmendriyas and jitendriyas, we observe phenomena, and the buddhi starts observing patterns out of it. The patterns, right, then make meaningful outcomes, meaningful ways of thinking about it, and we behave based on that. That is rationality, right? If I look outside and I see dark clouds gathering, right? So that's a phenomena, right? And my buddhi tells me, oh, it might rain, right? Yeah. If it's going to rain, I'm going to take an umbrella and go out. Yeah. Now that is rational behavior.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Nowhere in this rational behavior did I have to wait for European Enlightenment to tell me, look up to the sky, right? See if the dark clouds are gathering. Right?
True.
Yeah. So rationality is ingrained. It's the way individual humans are rational because they have the capacity. We have the capacity, right, to observe phenomena and come up with patterns. We observe phenomena, come up with patterns, come up with conclusions, and base our behavior on that. That's at the individual level. Now let's look up science. Yeah. So when it comes to science, let me take another illustrative example. India has long coastlines, yeah, and for many millennia, right, our people, our communities have been fisher folk, yeah, and they have been very successful fisher folk for a long time. How did they do that? It's a complex environment they have to work through, right? So how did they do that? They had to figure out when the tides were going to come in, right? And how the tides change by the full moon and the new moon. They had to figure out how those tides change during seasons and across seasons, right? So the first part, they were able to get data by observing the movement of the sun, moon, and the planets, and through the Panchangam, were able to predict very accurately when the tides would come in and when they would ebb away.
Right.
So that's the Panchangam, right? The fisher folk, when they went out there fishing, they also noticed something else. Yeah? So Panchangam, by the way, also gives you the seasons, etc. It tells you exactly when the seasons will come through and so forth. When the fisher folk went out there, they started observing things about how the fish behave, when it would be a good time to fish, and when it would be when they noticed when the fish was spawning they should not fish at that time so that they get a blessing of a boon of a better harvest later on. And these were incorporated, these observations are indeed incorporated into their folk songs. If you go and do a study of that, you'll notice that people actually transfer knowledge through their folk songs on the behavior of the fish in the seas and how it is connected to the seasons, right? And ability to predict the seasons and the tides. See how complex a model they worked in, right? Through observation. That to me is science. That is democratic science. The democratic science of the people. So they lived rationally and scientifically. Didn't wait for someone to come and tell them how to do it, right? Now that is democratic science of the people, for the people, by the people. Now comes Western academia, Western science through European Enlightenment. They say, oh, you can't do science. We will do science.
Right.
So they over the process of observation, which is so natural for humans, individuals, and communities to do, and to build their models and to work at it. And they called it science with a capital S.
Correct.
Right? That's so basically they took it over and they claimed that only they could tell others. Okay. How to behave in this world, how to sense this world, how to come to conclusions, right? And we can talk more about it, but that's basically what European Enlightenment did as far as taking away our agency. The process of colonization goes so deep, it takes away our agency to understand and sense the world. First of all, to sense the world, right? And to understand it and to build it for ourselves. That is why we in India have become mimickers. We mimic, even now, we mimic whatever the West does. Why? Because there is an implicit suggestion that's embedded in us that we can't do it ourselves. We have to wait for academia to tell us what to do.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.